What's up, nerds? I'm Kendrick, your not-so-friendly neighborhood otaku, and welcome to my channel where I talk all things anime, manga, manhwa, and webcomic. If that's the type of thing you're into, then subscribe. The winter 2024 anime season has officially come to a close, so today I'm going to be giving my final impressions for all of the new series that I watched. Reminder that these are my own personal opinions on the series that I watched and not universal truth, so your opinion may differ from mine, and if it does, I don't fucking care. Cry to your mom or therapist about it. Actually, don't cry to your mom. She probably has a lot of emotional labor that she's been going through already. Without further ado though, let's get into it. Up first, we have The Witch and the Beast, which I'm giving a 9.4 out of 10. The art in the manga is so top tier that translating it to an anime often comes at a stylistic cost. But I personally think they're keeping up with the tone despite some simplification of the art style. I'm a big fan of dark fantasy and mystery series, and I already read some of the manga for this. So I knew going into the anime that it would be a series that I like. Although I haven't read much of the manga, seeing the anime really made me want to pick it back up again. I love that we got to see Guido, who in their big bad form took on an S-level demon sword that was unsheathed easily, get their shit rocked by a witch. And not just any witch, but the one that cursed them. There's just something about an OPMC getting humbled that really makes me love a series. I think the ending of the series set it up perfectly for season 2, and I can't wait to see more Guido and Ashaf in the future. Up next, we have Mr. Villain's Day Off, which I'm giving a 7 out of 10. It's a fun slice of life series that's exactly what it sounds like. We follow the life of a villain on his day off and see him come to enjoy and love the things on the earth that he seeks to destroy in his day job. When I reached the halfway point for this series, I thought it would be better as a series that you binge or have on in the background while you're doing something else, and I was right. At least for me, it was a better watching experience when I binged it while I was like cooking or cleaning or something along those lines. It's a nice and fun series with nothing groundbreaking or outstanding, so it sits in that 7 range, which for me means that it's good, not great. Up next, we have Delicious in Dungeon, which I'm giving a 6.8 out of 10. I know some of you disagree with that opinion, but again, this is my opinion, not yours. For those that didn't watch this series though, Delicious in Dungeon is a cozy-ish action fantasy series. After the halfway point, this was another series I thought would be better to binge rather than wait week to week to watch. And I felt that was somewhat true, but it didn't really make much of a difference. Granted, I did like the second half of the season more than the first half. I would personally rate the first half of the season a 6.2, whereas the second half I would rate a 7.2, which gets us to an average of 6.7, but I rounded that up to a 6.8 because I like going by multiples of 2 and 5. Now, one of the main reasons I'm rating this a 6.8 is because I hate Senshi, and he has a big influence on the group throughout the series, so I can't just ignore his character. I think Senshi's really fucking annoying and condescending, and drags Laios along with him, which makes Laios ignore what the people he's worked with for years think and feel. In fact, the whole season is rooted in them trying to get back to the lower level to save Fallon before they can no longer resuscitate her. And Senshi keeps fitting into Laios' special interest, which distracts him from saving his sister. Again, the whole point of this season. As a reminder, a 6.8 rating isn't bad, it's above average. It just means it's fine. It's not great or outstanding, it's very middle of the road for me. Up next, we have A Sign of Affection, which I'm giving a 10 out of 10. I fucking love this series, but I feel like if we were to get a season 2, it won't be for a while because there's just not enough material out yet. Yuki and Itsuomi's relationship is so precious to me. We go from questioning Itsuomi's intentions, wondering if he's interested in Yuki as someone who could teach him a new language or Yuki as a person, to being fully Team Itsu when we see this stone-faced man fall more and more in love with her. We also get to see the difference between how Oshi is overprotective of Yuki to the point where he comes off as patronizing and restrictive compared to Itsuomi, who always encourages Yuki to step outside of her comfort zone, knowing fully well that if she ever were to stumble or fall, he'd be there to catch her. For me, this was the best romance anime of the winter 2024 season. If you did not watch it and you're a fan of romance anime, you 100% need to check this out. And if you did watch it and want to pick up where the series left off, I would recommend starting with volume 6 of the manga. Up next, we have Dr. Elise, which I'm giving a 7.2 out of 10. This is a double isekai ro-fan historical medical series. It's a lot. I read the manhwa for this a while ago, but seeing it over from the beginning just reminds me of how much I hated the Emperor and Servant. I understand their logic and reasoning, but at the same time, why is a grown-ass man, the Emperor nonetheless, making a bet with a 16-year-old? A bet that will decide if she's forced into a marriage she asked to be absolved from because the ML unalived her in a previous life, or if she can pursue her passion and work as a doctor. here. Now, there are some changes from the manhwa, probably to move the plot along for pacing reasons, but it does also influence how you view the characters. For instance, the Elise in the manhwa is a little bit more flawed, which adds depth to her character that's missing in the anime. Now, I'm not personally a fan of the ML unalived the FL in a past life, but now he's in love with her trope, so both Dr. Elise and Seventh Time Loop get some points knocked off for that. I understand a redemption arc, but that's Elise's story and purpose here. We're watching her redemption arc, not the MLs. I still enjoyed this though, but I like the manhwa a little bit better, so if you like the anime, I recommend checking that out. Up next, we have Fluffy Paradise, which I'm giving a 6.2 out of 10. This is a very cute and wholesome series. If you want to see an isekai overworked office worker in the body of a small child just excited to pet creatures, then this series is for you. I, however, was waiting for the other shoe to drop. The reason Midori became Nima was because a god sent her to this world to judge whether its human population who persecute non-humans should be eliminated. And we keep seeing the persecution of non-humans and hypocrisy of humans who force them into these environments. So after the first half of the season, I was waiting for the humans to get some backlash from the god who sent her there, because she can't say they're kind to non-humans. They're only kind to the non-humans she brings under her wing by naming them. But we never got that, which leaves a huge plot hole, unless they're planning to address that in a later season. Because that plot point, which is the main driver of the series, is overlooked, I had to knock some points off from my rating. Seventh Time Loop, I'm giving a 7 out of 10. This is another Ro fan series, although it's a reincarnation story rather than an isekai story. I also read the manga for this series, and I think the anime adaptation did it justice. Although we've been inundated with isekai series, I will always enjoy the I've done so much with all of the lives I live that I'm ready to just fucking relax. However, I end up doing the absolute most trope. I also really enjoy seeing how Risha uses her past lives knowledge to not only benefit herself, but her community. I do think this and Dr. Elise have a lot of similarities, since they both retain memories of past lives and use that knowledge, and they both fall in love with the man who unalived them in a previous life. So I personally wish they didn't come out in the same season, but there's enough of a difference that you're not going to confuse the two. However, if you like one, you'll probably like the other. I completely forgot about the Michelle plot in the manga, which is the alchemist wannabe terrorist. And that's basically the second half of this season. Yes, he had childhood trauma, but his response, what he chose to do, was to only think about how the things he created can be used to unalive people, like mass unalivings of people. There's no justification for that, but his drive towards wanting to be a terrorist is especially weak. Like, my dad was mean to me, so I'm going to become a mass unaliver? Get over yourself. Your dad being mean to you is not a unique experience. Up next, we have Solo Leveling, which I'm giving a 10 out of 10. I was told to wait and let the series build up a couple of episodes, at least the first two, before watching it, and oh boy, am I glad I did. Because there is no way I would have been able to wait a week between episodes. This is what I've been wanting to see out of dark fantasy action adventure series for a while now. It's a gory, gritty tale of an underdog who gets a second chance and becomes somewhat corrupted by that chance. And I love that Gino has proper motivation driving him, that I feel a lot of modern basic shonen MCs lack or forget about along the way. I also love the premise of meeting the big bad in the first 1 to 2 episodes and seeing how completely useless you are. It makes the training arc more bearable and understandable, compared to other series where we see basically an entire season devoted to the training arc, so we lose sight of not only how far they've come, but how far they still need to go. Plus, we get to see Juno constantly questioning his morals and ethics as he gets stronger, becomes more numb to what's happening and what he's doing, and keeps pushing forward. And lastly, we have Cherry Magic, which I'm giving a 5.8 out of 10. With this series, we get the virgin wizard trope, which I'm personally not a fan of, so I knew going into this series it wasn't going to be one that I personally rate highly. Adachi is an office worker who can suddenly hear the thoughts of those he's in physical contact with after he turns 30 and is still a virgin. He finds out his male co-worker, who's handsome and great at his job, has a crush on him, and he's flustered. But there was no barrier or issue he needed to overcome or resolve. Not only did they start going on dates and get into a relationship fairly easily, but he also told him about this power and there was no pushback. The only issue they had to deal with was with communication around a potential job relocation, and that was in the last 2 to 3 episodes. Because of the virgin wizard trope, the lack of something driving the plot, and the timing towards the end feeling really rushed, this is only getting a 5.8 from me, which on a scale of 10 just means it's an average middle-of-the-road series for me. There's nothing really special or standout about it, but if you want to see more BL anime, this is a BL anime. And those are my final impressions on the new Winter 2024 anime anime series that I watched. I didn't include series like The Apothecary Diaries, Frieren, and Undead Unluck because even though their first season extended into the winter 2024 anime season, they're technically fall 2023 anime for me. Again, these are my personal opinions on the new series that I watched, and if you don't agree with them, cool. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really care. This is also just a reminder that everyone has different taste in what they're watching and reading, so things that I rated low may be something you really enjoy, and that's not something to argue about. Those are just differences in taste. I'll post a comment with my rating scale where 0 is like, why the fuck did I waste my time with this? This is absolutely horrible. I've never seen anything worse. And 10 is, this is a masterpiece. So you have an understanding of what the scale is that I'm using. That is all for today though, and I will see you next time.